Let's move on to Congress. This is the most important segment, I think, in terms of what matters for Washington. As you can all see, the Uniparty, it rewards those who do their bidding. And so there has been a motion to vacate effort against Speaker Mike Johnson by Marjorie Taylor Greene and by Thomas Massie in retaliation for passing the aid to Ukraine and to Israel. However, Marjorie is now actually being attacked by even pro-MAGA Republicans who are like, hey, hold on a second. And she's getting an assist by the Democrats. So here she is asked by CNN, why are you going against Donald Trump's wishes and doing a motion to vacate against Speaker Mike Johnson? Here's what she had to say.
Former President Trump has said positive things about the speaker and has said he doesn't favor a motion to vacate. Aren't you defying the former president's wishes?
Absolutely not. I'm the biggest supporter of President Trump, and that's why I proudly wear this MAGA hat. I fight for his agenda every single day. And that's why I'm fighting here against my own Republican conference to fight harder against the Democrats. Mike Johnson has fully funded the Department of Justice that wants to put President Trump in jail.
So as you guys can see right there, I mean, Marjorie is fighting, but this really doesn't matter now because the Democrats have basically made it a moot point. And Mike Johnson is actually in the most powerful position that he's been in a long time, ever since that Ukraine and Israel aid passed. Here he is in responding to Marjorie Taylor Greene in a recent interview. Let's take a listen.
Talk about your future.
Yeah.
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Mm-hmm.
No fan of yours.
Bless her heart, yeah.
Is she a serious lawmaker?
I don't think she's proving to be, no. I don't spend a lot of time thinking about her. I got to do my job. And we do the right thing, and we let the chips fall where they may. And that's my philosophy. That's how we're governing. We're gonna keep the train on the tracks and show the American people that not just what we're against, but what we're for, that there's a conservative agenda that is necessary to get the country back on the right track. And the way for us to do that is to keep and grow the House majority. Descending into chaos and closing the House down and vacating the chair again is exactly the opposite.
It's the opposite of what needs to happen, of course, because whenever you pay the piper, then ever you get rescued. Here is a friend of the show, Glenn Greenwald, flagged just how much of a double-face, person Mike Johnson has turned out to be. Here's what he used to sound like on the issue of FISA whenever he was interviewed by Glenn, and then recently he just passed the FISA reauthorization. Here's what he sounded like.
That is what keeps us up at night, Glenn. We're worried about what has become of these agencies that have such broad and expansive powers.
Do you see what I mean? He's not just saying he's going to vote yes or no. He's saying this issue, this concern is so pressing to me that it keeps me up at night. The secrecy of the FBI, the ability of the U.S. security state to spy on American citizens with no limit, it keeps him up at night, he said. Just in July of 2023.
Bring legislative reforms to do our best to ensure that these abuses cannot happen again in the future.
He said the only thing we can do is bring legislative reform to ensure these abuses do not happen again. He becomes speaker. There's pending legislation to do exactly that has bipartisan support. To do exactly that, to reform the powers of the U.S. security state so they can no longer spy on us in secret and abuse their spying powers and other powers for politicized domestic ends. He said, that's the thing I'm eager to do.
Sickening. It's sickening, Krystal.
It's incredible.
About face. And here's the best part. It's before you weigh in, let's put this up there on the screen. Democrats are going to save him. They've decided and they've announced that they will rescue Mike Johnson when he faces that ouster vote by Marjorie Taylor Greene sometime next week. They got to pay him off in exchange for that Ukraine aid passage that just happened.
He wanted that Israel aid to go through. I mean, that was he made it really clear.
He prayed on it.
He made it really clear. As soon as he got in, first person he called was Bibi Netanyahu. First thing he passed was some, resolution about anti-Semitism or whatever. It's not only the FISA piece, but he also, his house just passed this bill codifying as hate speech criticism of the government of Israel. And so once they had that into him, and it was very clear that the only way to get it through was to package that with Ukraine aid and all these other things, guess what? That's what he was going to do. So it is astonishing to me that the Democrats are going to save this guy. Like, I understand it from an ideological perspective, because the minute that he passed their Ukraine aid, they were like calling him Churchill.
Literally Churchill. Yeah, they're like, this is his 1938 Munich moment.
I just can't.
Yeah, selling weapons to Ukraine and bankrupting America.
Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. So, you know, ideologically, they're very aligned. And they also probably see him as easy to manipulate, because he probably is, because he's very inexperienced. He came out of nowhere, and now they're like, you know, can take him into some classified briefing and scare the shit out of him and get him to do whatever the hell they want him to do, pretty much. From that perspective, I understand it. From another tactical perspective, though, I don't, because there were some rumors that if you did have a successful motion to vacate and you threw it back into this like previous chaos, there were some rumors that there were a couple of moderate Republicans who were actually going to switch parties that were reported. So, and that's all it would take to flip the House to the Democrats. So it's like, okay, well, why wouldn't you try? Why wouldn't you try for that? Just as a, you know, power exercise, whatever. Not to mention the fact that these chaotic periods for the Republicans, for your average American who's not paying too much attention to the ins and outs, they just look at it and they're like, these people aren't serious. They can't govern. Like, they're fighting with themselves constantly, et cetera, et cetera. And, you know, personally, I think there should be more tension within these caucuses. I think there should be more of these battles, et cetera. But I think the way it reads the American people is just as chaos. And so I don't know also why they would want to rescue the Republicans from that. But hey, the Ukraine aid, I guess, is so important to them that now that they've got their guy in there who's willing to do whatever it takes to get it through, they're going to stick with that.
Yeah, this is what it looks like. And it's just like, this is the most extraordinary thing that's happened in modern Congress in the last 30, 40 years. I mean, you have a speaker who uses Democratic votes when the majority of his party votes against something to pass aid. I mean, and this is, you know, everybody talks about norms and we got to worship norms and all that. They break it for one reason, not for aid for us, nothing to do with us. It's for aid to foreign powers. Like, this is the altar of which they worship. So, and they get rewarded for it. They get rewarded amply. You know, Mike Johnson is stronger today than he has at any point in his speakership for two reasons. This anti-Semitism BS that we started our show with. You know, he's united his caucus. He's got the Columbia Act. Richie Torres and Gottheimer are backing him. The Democrats got their Ukraine aid. The Republicans are backing their speaker, standing up against campus protesters. So this is what it looks like. This is what actual like majority rule looks like, and it's not favorable. So I agree. Let's go back to chaos. Yeah, I think it's more beneficial to the country.
Hey guys, if you like that video, go to breakingpoints.com, become a premium subscriber, and help us build the best independent media organization on the planet.
That's right. We're subscriber funded. We're building something new. We want to replace these failing mainstream media organizations.
So again, to subscribe, it's breakingpoints.com.